And McGregor is the opposite, is front on. You know, he's front on. It's almost, like I said, it's a face-off. It's a confrontation. If we can come through here, both of the shoulders are pointed forwards. You can tell he's in fight week. You can tell he hasn't had sex for a week because he's very aggressive here. Hello guys, and welcome back to another body language analysis video. This video is a little bit different. I saw this clip a few months ago. I think I might have caught it a year ago, but a few months ago it reminded me. And a lot of people have been saying in the comments they want to see real life body language, not just from films or series or whatever. And I will continue doing both, of course, because the other ones have been so successful and I do believe they're accurate to life. But here is a real life situation that we're going to break down between Conor McGregor and Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, for anybody who's a fan of either of these guys who, you know, might get offended if I say a negative thing about your idol, it's nothing personal. It's just a single scene. You know, both of these guys are leading individuals around any social situation. They tend to lead the way. But in this exact scenario, when two, and I know people hate me using it, well, some people don't like me using the term, but when two alpha males come together, it's completely different, okay? So you or I on the street, if we didn't know about body language, you know, we might be all over the place. We might be doing submissive actions. Our body language might be poor. And when our boss comes over, you know, their body language is better than ours just naturally because they feel like they outrank us. Well, superstars, celebrities, famous people, they have the same scenarios, but it's very rare that they're face to face with somebody who is also on their level. You know, you've got to think, right? Ronaldo and McGregor, they're right at the top of society. Very few people can match them ever in human history for fame. They always have the upper hand in every scenario, okay? People are always vying for their attention. They never need to worry. When the two guys meet each other, it's alpha versus alpha. And this is why I wanted to break this down, because it's super interesting. So let's get this going, guys. Okay, so straight off the bat, nothing out of the normal here. Okay, so both guys come in with, I think McGregor's got the bigger hands, obviously that's why he's a fighter, but they come in with the standard strong handshake, and they both do this. One hand was shaking the hand, and the other hand comes round the back, that hand comes round the back. You know, the embraced hug, they both do that naturally. They're around social situations very, very often, so they're comfortable in that scenario. Here's where it gets interesting. So McGregor there didn't hold eye contact at the start. Watch this. They're holding eye contact here. McGregor darts his eyes. Actually, you guys told me I could use the arrows on my keyboard actually to jump back scenes. I'll test that later. But there, he was the first to look away. And Ronaldo actually keeps looking at his body. He's very vain, isn't he? It's quite submissive to keep checking him out to see, oh, is he bigger than me? Is he bigger than me? You know, famous as hell, loads of money, great looking guy, massively insecure deep down. And McGregor actually looked away there, okay? So he broke the eye contact first. So there, Ronaldo stepped in. You know, he said, "You look like me." He stepped in. He slapped him on the arm. He made the forward advancement over to McGregor's, I guess, girlfriend. And McGregor, although he's laughing, he doesn't like it. And watch how he responds. So we'll see how he responds in a second when he comes back. But in these scenarios here, and I can go back. Excellent, guys. Thank you for that. It jumps quite a lot, though, doesn't it? But in this scenario, when he was meeting these people, watch this. Strong eye contact. Very confident. Unfazed. And sorry about the quality, guys. There's literally no better video. Okay, so there. I tell you what, I want to analyze this scene and then I want to take it back because I don't know if I could stop it on this scene again. But the way that McGregor has gone and touched his shoulder, okay, so McGregor's touched him here on the arm, and actually, it almost looks as though Ronaldo is leaning backwards. Okay, so we can see very, very slightly here. He's on the back foot. I think that's undeniable. He's on the back foot here. You know, the way that this shoulder is higher and this one's lower, that's quite a defensive move. And he's got this arm blocking his midsection. It's protecting him against McGregor, so to speak, with the water bottle there too. And he's 100% on the back foot there. And McGregor's come in, you know, very abrasive as he is. And if we watch it here, if we just go back, the way he came in there, it was almost like a face-off. And again, I apologize about the quality. There's nothing I can do. But we can even see here, actually, Dillian Danis. He's got his hands tucked in behind him. They're actually gripping the cage. I saw this earlier, so they're tucked in behind because he knows in this scenario, it's all about these two men. So if we remove all of this. But look at McGregor's stance, okay? Wide shoulders, arms are wide, as we can see here. Same over this side. Everything is broad. And the way he's come for, he's a very aggressive guy naturally, even if he doesn't mean to be. But I think he's done this on purpose to reassert dominance. But the way we've got here, one sloping shoulder, like I said, and the shoulder is going backwards. It's heading back that way. He almost wants to get away from McGregor. He looks apprehensive, like he doesn't know what's coming next. And McGregor is the opposite, is front on. You know, he's front on. It's almost, like I said, it's a face-off. It's a confrontation. If we can come through here, both of the shoulders are pointed forwards. You can tell he's in fight week. You can tell he hasn't had sex for a week because he's very aggressive here. And like I said, we got a slap on the shoulder there. And I think, did Ronaldo flinch? Yeah, he did, slightly. I think he got moved by McGregor because McGregor hit him quite hard. But watch this, guys. It was weird, right? Anybody see that? Let's watch this again. See the way he slightly moved forward? I don't think there was enough power in that to knock him away. I think he flinched. So what McGregor's done there is he's asserted dominance once again, okay? And what we saw there, there's so much here, guys. I'm going to have to go back so many times, so please don't get annoyed. But look, he's gripped the cage. He's on his back foot. He's leaning against the cage and he's gripped it. That is a nervous move. That's a little bit of fear that's crept in there. Ronaldo's not comfortable in this scenario for whatever reason. McGregor, I know he's just putting his clothes on, but he's strutting around the place, so he's taking up more room. As we can see here, he's got his knee up on this side, which is protecting him against McGregor coming forward. Okay, just remember that in a minute. So as McGregor moves around, you know, it's very, very, very fearful behavior from Ronaldo. So he had his knee there as McGregor walks around. He took the knee off. He readjusted. He went flat back against the cage, hands by his side. He's using that as protection. Okay, so he's leant back here again. But what he's got consistently is he's got this bottle. And women use handbags, okay? When a woman doesn't like you, she'll use a handbag to protect herself. It goes in between you and her. And, you know, they don't do it on purpose. It's done on a subconscious level. But you'll put objects in front of yourself. People do it with phones sometimes. People do it by clasping their hands together. It just feels like a defensive move. Or, you know, maybe they'll have their arm, let's say his arm is, okay, we've got to do it here. But let's say his arm is like this and across his body. And maybe it's coming up, so it's something like that, and it's holding his neck. You see people doing that often. Well, that is a defense mechanism to protect your body. Okay, I'm just analyzing, guys. I've only watched this once. Let's play it on. McGregor did move forward there very slightly. One thing I want to point out is that there's so much going on. I'm looking at everything, okay? But what McGregor's doing here is he's occupied, okay? He was putting his shorts on. He just finished training. He's tying it up. He's got something to do. He's got something to fiddle with, so to speak. So he feels more confident. It all switches in a minute. Okay, so I think it switches around about now, okay? Did we see that? Let's take that back a couple of seconds. Watch Ronaldo grab his midsection, okay? So he keeps grabbing this area, he keeps protecting his testicles. And as much as people will say he's straightening his trousers, it's a subconscious move. Watch this. There, that's one touch. And we can see McGregor fiddling a lot more now. He's readjusting, he's shuffling with his feet. There's so much bad body language between these two. I might have to go through it twice. But now McGregor's got his foot raised on here, which is a protection mechanism against Ronaldo. Because he's no longer doing anything. He's no longer fiddling with this rope around here. Or this string, should I say. But what he has taken up to compensate is this aggressive hands on the hips action, which is a power move. It's very aggressive when you look deep into what body language meanings are, or at least I've learned that it is. And he's kind of counteracting a slight little bit of anxiety with this aggressive stance. But the thing is, right, guys, your legs, your feet, they're furthest away from your brain. Okay, I don't really need to draw this, but, you know, obviously that's the furthest distance, which means that these areas up here, for example, they're easier, and especially your facial expressions, they're easy to control. But things down here, because they're furthest away from the brain, it's more unconscious. So any movement that's happening down there will be more of a true giveaway as to how somebody's feeling. And although McGregor is compensating here with the hands on his hips, it's the thigh for me that's telling me everything I need to know. Alright, some face touching there for McGregor, which is a sign of anxiety. But I will say he's probably just trained and he's been sweating, so, you know, you are going to be slightly itchy. There's another touch of the midsection by Ronaldo. And there we go. There's another defensive move from Ronaldo, putting the knee up. Not often Ronaldo does a defensive move, if anybody understands football, but he's got his knee up there, protecting against the advancement of McGregor. And as much as people say he's just trying to be comfortable, that's not. I guarantee you that's not. That's a defensive move. He's keeping McGregor at bay. And another arm tap there for McGregor, which was well timed actually because of the defensive move here. He's rubbing his hands together. That's slight nervousness or anxiety. And then the hands return back to the hips. So McGregor is all over the place himself. He's more on the front foot, but he's very up and down. And there he's scratching, which is again nervousness. And he's scratching the other arm, and now he's toying with his arm. And agreed, like I said from earlier, he's just trained, he might be sweating, but this is definitely a sign of anxiety. And Ronaldo started to do more deliberate actions. Okay, so watch, look, his arms are wide here, and also there, that's a very wide action. But the way he slams his arm down and doesn't do it slowly, watch. Okay, let's take this back. Watch the way he puts his arm down. The way it just slumped down onto his thigh. If he had done that in a controlled manner, it would have been better. The way he just slumps that down, it's almost like a kid in class that, you know, that attitude like, oh, I don't care. You know, when a kid is tired and they have to do something and they're just doing that slumped over, relaxed shoulder posture and their arms are just flopping down. You know, that was kind of that action, and I think he needs to be more assertive in the way that he moves. And he keeps biting his lip as well, Ronaldo. Watch this. There's a point from McGregor, as I've told you guys before. Pointing forward, invading somebody else's private space there. You know, it's not that far away. So he's invading his personal space with a hand on the hip. You know, and this is very telling, actually, because if we looked at this, if this was a kid in a classroom over here, you know, that could be a teacher telling them off. That could be a mum telling the kid off. Do you know what I mean, guys? And the way Ronaldo here is cupping that water bowl with both hands, and the way it's covering his midsection, and the way he's got his knee up. You know, he's showing teeth to show that he's not submissive. There's so many things here that you could pick up on. And I get that he's being polite and he's laughing, but there's so many signals here which, to me personally, say that McGregor is getting the upper hand here. Again, another midsection touch. Look, grabs his groin. That's the third one I've seen. Tell you one thing McGregor is doing, though, guys, is these hand gestures. Here we go. These hand gestures. He's pointed his palm to the sky, which is this is one of the most submissive moves you can do. In the chimp world, they'll get down on their knees or something, or they'll bow their heads and they'll lift their palms up in the air. And it's the ultimate submissive move. And the alpha, what they have to do is an actual thing that they do. The alpha chimp will then run their fingers across the palm to show that they approve and they're okay. And these upward hand movements, they need to be palm down. Whenever you do expressions, you should always do palm down. It's very assertive. Again, look at this, guys. Coming up from Ronaldo, he looked down, obviously, to get his foot placement, but the knee comes up to protect him against McGregor. He's still got the bottle in front of his midsection. And, okay, let me explain. Why is this? I assume that everybody's seen all my other videos, but I know there's new people watching them. So why is he protecting this area here? Well, in this area here, we have all sorts of vital organs that, if penetrated, is fatal. Okay, so although we're not under attack in this modern era, although this is probably the closest thing you'll get to a warrior in the modern era, but although we're not under attack, this is the vulnerable area, okay? And people inherently or subconsciously, they protect it. And that's why when somebody's nervous, they will hold something in front of their stomach. Like you see, for example, let's say a kid at school who gets bullied. You know, in a film, you always see that they're holding the books in front of the stomach as they're walking along. Or, you know, a young girl who's going to school for the first time and she's got the books in front of her stomach. She's protecting her body. It's just what people do. And he touched his groin again. And the other thing I want to show is, watch Ronaldo's foot, okay? It's not actually stable. He moves it around. There, you see it bobbling up and down? And he grabs his groin again. That's a very submissive move there from McGregor. The way that he was swinging his arms back and forward, that shows, again, nervousness. He doesn't have the ability to stand still. I know he's trained, adrenaline's up, he's meeting Ronaldo, you know, it's a bit different. But the way he's swinging his arms back and forward, that shows nervousness. You know, he hasn't got the ability, like I said, to just keep one arm by his side, one arm by the other side. When he's consciously thinking of his body language, yeah, he does. But in this scenario, he hasn't. And again, he's touching his face. Okay, which, again, like I said, shows nervousness. Ronaldo grabbing his arm there. That's another submissive move. Okay, grabbing your own hand. Can you see how it forms like a barrier, guys? That's why people do it. McGregor fiddling around with his hands again. And I think in that scenario, okay, here, what we've got is, if I can just take this back, they're talking about getting a plane, and Ronaldo's already got one. So Ronaldo becomes a lot more confident because he knows that he's somewhat won that scenario. He's an alpha in the fucking having your own jet plane scenario. Watch this. See, the way his hands went a little bit wider. If I could take that back a little bit more, but his hands went out a lot wider. His foot actually came off the stool. So that means that he felt a lot more confident. And that is because in that scenario right there, he already has a jet. McGregor doesn't have one. See, he's wagging his finger at him, okay? Look, Ronaldo's a lot more confident in that scenario because he knows he has the money upper hand, which people don't think money gives you confidence. There's massive science on this. And McGregor felt a little bit intimidated there. The way he was laughing a lot, leaning into Ronaldo. Let's take this back. There was just so much happening. Okay, so he's actually lent into Ronaldo. Ronaldo actually moved back there. But there's different meanings to moving back. So when he was moving back, when McGregor was marching forward, that looked intimidating. In this scenario, Ronaldo almost looks as though he had the upper hand there, and McGregor is leaning in to get his attention. That's what it looks like to me. And then we've got McGregor fiddling there with his hands again. He was kind of clapping whilst rubbing his hands together. That's more submissive behavior. Ronaldo with more finger wagging. But then it goes back to normal. Okay? So Ronaldo gets defensive again, but he did have that one moment. He had that one moment, but his leg is back up again. He's protecting against McGregor. The bottle is back in front of the stomach. He's fully protected against any attack or advancement, which I know sounds insane and it's not coming from McGregor, but we can't change it. It's in our brains. And he's swinging his hands again, punching his fist. It's nervousness, but then he punches his fist to kind of back it up with an aggressive move. There's a contradiction going on in McGregor's brain. I think where he's been a fighter for so long, it's very hard to deal with these scenarios and not do them in an aggressive manner. He's kind of trained his brain to always be confrontational, and even when his body language wants to be submissive, he punched his hand. And then sometimes he moves forward or he taps somebody on the arm. It's almost, like I said, a contrast between submissive and dominant body language all at once going on in McGregor's head. Okay, guys, so that's everything that I could find in that clip. I hope, because it was actually two people in real life, that you got a lot from that. And I'm not against McGregor or Ronaldo, you know. I'm actually a fan of both guys. I think they're fantastic people. But they both have a ton of flaws when they're meeting somebody who's also on their level. And it's very hard not to do. Like if you look at the difference between what I've just shown you now and maybe Tommy Shelby's body language, they're worlds apart, okay? Tommy Shelby would be, and I know it's acting, but this is why I show you videos of fictional characters, because they're hyperboles of the best possible scenarios. Because it's not natural, you know. They're thinking of how should I act, how should I move. They're rehearsing for days. They're rehearsing like for months. Tommy Shelby's working, the actor himself is in the mirror working on that posture. How can I look? How can I stand? He's conscious of it all the time. And that's why I show you those videos, because they're hyperboles of what, if you did it in real life, people would be like, God damn, this guy's another level. And then you see two alphas coming together, and they're both doing submissive moves one after the other. They're scratching, they're nervous, they're grabbing their groin area, they're putting their knee up as a defense mechanism. Ronaldo's leaning, a guy, Ronaldo, worth 600 million, world famous, leaning back, grabbing a cage, looking intimidated, getting tapped by McGregor and flinching. Like, these are superstars, and they wouldn't do this around normal people, but when it comes to somebody on their level, they're just as nervous as anybody else. And the reason I've shown you this clip today is to give you an example of how bad some of this body language can be, even in superstars. And if Tommy Shelby was a real person, okay, in real life, well, I mean, there's stories that say he could be, but I'm saying the one that we know, okay, from Peaky Blinders. If he were to go into this room and talk to these guys and act the way that he acts in the series, it would be a bloodbath. Both of them would be probably pretty intimidated, or we would, as the viewer looking at it, or the spectator looking at it, we would clearly see that one guy is the dominant individual out of the group. And I just think it's important to see these things. But I'm probably going to do loads more fictional ones, guys, because I love them. I think they're great, and people have really enjoyed them. But I will do a few more of these where we can look at real life examples, and hopefully I can find somebody who does good body language in real life. I have a look for it. But I just think it's so eye-opening to see two superstars, two ultimate alphas of the modern world, doing so many bad body language things and look so intimidated because they are, I guess McGregor is more in his comfort zone because it's his gym and he's just trained. He's got his guys around him and stuff. So I give Ronaldo a pass there. Like if we were on a football pitch, it would be completely different. I assure you of that. But it's just very interesting to see when they've got to meet somebody that's on their level, how they resort back to childlike body language. It's very, very interesting. But I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Something different. And I'll speak to you all soon.